Hello everyone and welcome. Today the video is titled Corruption in Malaysia, a historical perspective and modern challenge. And we're here to explore how corruption has evolved in our country, from the subtle beginnings to the modern, more complex challenge we face today. Our objective is simple. Number one, to understand the roots of corruptions. Number two is to see the impacts made to Malaysia. Number three is to learn what we can do to build a fairer society. Before we dive in, let me introduce our team. I'm Julio, and I'll begin with these introductions and present the context for our discussions and take us through the historical evolution and background of economic change in Malaysia. And Haushans is here to share the insights of major cases like 1MDB and explain how such events affects our daily life. Third one is Ribi. He will continue with a more detailed case such as the Sabah Water Department scandal and explore their broader impact on our society. Wang Yi and Shi Yang are our strategy commander who will outline what both the government and citizens can do to fight corruptions. And finally, Jiman will wrap up our discussions with a thoughtful conclusions and a call to actions. So, without waiting more, let's begin this journey that affects us all. Let's travel back and understand the evolution of corruption in Malaysia. Historically, in the early days of Malaysia's economic growth, corruption was often seen as a hidden knot, a small thing. Back then, business and government interaction were conducted largely through the personal connections. Deals were made through informal channels, and favoritism played a significant role. Means that corruption was sometimes tolerated as a necessary means of navigating a less structured, developing economy. It was embedded in everyday transactions, often subtle, almost invisible in the shadow of traditional practice. As Malaysia began to modernize and integrate into the global economy, the dynamics changed dramatically. The introduction of new technologies such as the global trades, transactions, digital transactions, and sophisticated financial system mean that the corruption evolved from being a localized, informal practice to a more systematic and complex phenomenon. It means that modern corruption is no longer just about a small scale. It now involves intricate financial networks, offshore accounts, and large-scale financial mismanagement. So consider this. In the past, corruption might have involved simple exchange for favors or expedite service. Today, however, we see a multi-layered schemes where millions of dollars can be diverted through elaborate channels. The transformation is marked by number one, increase the complexity. With the globalizations, corrupt practice has been taken onto new forms, a high level that are harder and harder to detect. Second is a higher stakes. As the economy grows, so does the amount of money involved, making the consequences of corruption far more severe. And the third one is wider impact. Modern corruption affects not only public service and local communities, but also international trust and investment in Malaysia. So these evolutions reflect a broader shift in our society, from an era where personal networks dictate success to one where transparency and accountability are demanded on a such larger scale. So it is a reminder that while our system has advanced, it's so to have the methods used by those who seek to exploit them. But understanding this evolution is crucial because it shows that the challenge of the corruption is not static anymore. It adapts with economic and technological progress. So must our strategy for combating it.
Have you ever wondered why life in Malaysia can be so frustrating? Why something that never seemed to improve include poor roads, along with expensive living costs and delayed public service? And a big reason is corruption. One of the most notorious examples was 1MDB. Over 4.5 billions, yes, billions was stolen. The stolen money should have funded important national institutions such as hospitals and schools and public transportation. Yet, it financed luxury yachts, luxury items together with high-end foreign real estate. Because of the corruption, more government debt accumulated, which caused us to pay higher tax. Foreign business choose to trust different markets instead, so Malaysia missed out on various job opportunity. Most of all, people failed within our system completely when it stood due to the problems. What are the chances for success when leaders are at the upper level stay corrupt? And it's not just ONDB. The former director of water service in Sabah faced bribery charge worth 51.7 million ringgit. Many villages in Sabah continue to face the problem of having no access to clean water. Millions of stolen money belong to the people during the time when some families had to battle just for tap water service. Guess what? Corruption is not just about stolen money. It's about stolen opportunities. Why is owning a house so expensive? Corruption. Yes, corruption. Why do some students study in overcrowded classroom? Corruption again. Why do public projects that take forever but still feel low quality? Yes, corruption again. And the good news? We're not powerless. People uncover the 1MDB scouted because Malaysian citizens refuse to accept silence on the matter. The same level of corruption reduction achieved by other nations belongs to our reach. Our request for actual transparency and genius leadership will result in change for the betterment of our community. A simple question for you. If corruption is taking away your future, what will you do about it? Because in the end, fighting corruption is not just up to the government, it's up to all of us.
Corruption isn't just about money, it's about power, trust, and everyday lives of citizens. Building on what Hao-Chun mentioned about the YMDB case, let's look at another major scandals that struck Malaysia. The Sabah Water Department's corruption case. This case is a stark example of how corruption directly affects to the essential public service and disrupts the lives of the ordinary people. The Sabah Water Department's scandals is a breach of public trust. Imagine this, millions of taxpayers' money meant for clean water infrastructure, but it has diverted into private pockets. In 2016, authorities uncovered a massive corruption scheme within the Sabah Water Department. Their officials were accused of embezzling funds means for water supply projects and pocketing approximately 3.3 billion Malaysian ringgit over a decade. The key factors of these scandals is the scandals involve high-ranking officials, including the department directors and deputy directors. They allegedly accumulated vast wealth through the illegal commissions and money laundering schemes. The scandals was uncovered by the MSCC, Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, which they had launched a large scale of investigations, leading to the seizure of 114 Malaysian ringgit in cash. It is one of the largest cash seizures in Malaysian histories. The scandals has bring a huge impact on the public, such as the rural communities in Sabah, especially those in remote areas which they have a long struggle with unreliable and unsafe water supply. Then the government projects intended to improve water infrastructure was often stalled and abandoned because of missing funds. As the water crisis continued, the public outrage grew, with citizens increasingly frustrated by the sight of corrupt officials living in luxury while they face water shortages and problems. Then for the facet of economic and social consequence, beyond the shocking numbers, the real question is, how does this impact the everyday lives of Malaysians? The effects of such corruption extends far beyond financial loss. So the first is the loss of public funds. The stolen 3.3 billion Malaysian ringgit could have been used to build critical water infrastructure, benefiting thousands of Malaysians. Instead, public money was misused, forcing the government to allocate additional resources to fix the damage. Then the collapse of the public service. water supply disruptions affected business, hospitals, and schools, causing an inconvenience and economic losses. Corrupt practice often lead to the poor quality infrastructure as contractors cut corners to maximize the illicit profits. So why does this so matter? Because the Sabah Water Department scandals teach us important lessons, which is corruption isn't just about a big corporation or high-profile politicians. It affects essential services like water, electricity, and healthcare. When corruption infiltrates these sectors, it's the ordinary citizens who pay the highest price for it. So the big question now is, how do we prevent this from happening again? The fight against the corruption doesn't just rest on the government, because it requires a collective actions from all of us. In the next segment, our friends Guang Yi and Shi Yang will explore the strategy so we can adopt to combat the corruptions and rebuild trust in our institutions. Thank you.
Now that we have seen the impact of corruption through the 1MDB and Sabah Water Department scandal, it's time to focus on the solution. These cases are not just about money. They are about a collapse of trust in government, and they show us exactly why strong preventive strategies are urgently needed. First, we need to strengthen our independent institution. The 1MDB scandal revealed just how dangerous it is when institutions are compromised. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, or MSCC, had its investigation obstructed, and even the Attorney General was removed. This showed the critical need for anti-corruption bodies that are completely free from the political influence. In contrast, look at the Sabah Water Department case. MSCC uncovered 51.7 million in corruption money. This proved that when institutions are allowed to function independently, they can oppose the truth. Second, the rule of law must uphold without exception. At first, 1MDB investigation was blocked, but eventually, Najib government was voted out. Today, it faces 42 criminal charges. In Sabah, the former director and his wife are being tried for money laundering under the Anti-Money Laundering Act. These cases show that justice can happen, but only if the legal system stays impartial and consistent. Third, corruption often crosses borders, and so must our effort to fight it. The 1MDB scandals involve money moving through the US, New Zealand, and Singapore. At first, Malaysia refused to cooperate with the international investigation, but in complex cases like this, we need collaboration between nations to trace, freeze, and recover stolen funds. Finally, we must protect whistleblowers and investigative journalists. The 1MDB scandal was exposed thanks to leaked documents. Foreign journalists report by the Sarawak Report and the Wall Street Journal. In Sabah, the Borneo Post keep the public informed every step of the way. These voices shine light where others want damage. They must be protected, not punished, just for speaking the truth. To recap, here are the 4 critical strategies government must adopt to fight corruption. 1. Strengthen independent institutions. 2. Uphold the rule of law. 3. Foster international cooperation. And 4. Protect whistleblower and the free press. These are not just ideas, they are essential if we want a future built on trust and integrity. But government action alone is not enough. Real change also requires the power of the people. In the next part, Shi Yang will explore the role we, as a citizen, must play to fight corruption and build a better Malaysia.
So now I'm going to continue the strategy to solve the issue for citizens. Meanwhile, from the citizen angle, the interaction should be taken. The first one is support the independent media and investigative journalism. The central role of the Sarawak Report and the Wall Street Journal in exposing the 1MDB scandal and the ongoing reporting by the Borneo Post online on the Sabah Water Department case highlight the crucial need for citizens to actively support the independent media and the investigative journalism that provide a better scrutiny of the potential corruption. And the second is exercising the democratic right and the holding leader accountable. The history ousting of Najib Razak's government in the 2018 general election, largely driven by the public anger over the 1MDB scandal, serves as a powerful example of how citizens can exercise their democratic right to hold the leader accountable for the corruption. While the source don't detail similar direct political consequences in the Sabah Water Department case, the ongoing trial signifies a demand for the accountability through the legal system. And the last one is demanding the transparency and the accountability. The widespread public outrage over the late billion loss in the 1MDB and the million involved the Sabah Water Department case underscore the importance of citizens actively demanding the transparency and the accountability from their government at all levels regarding the management of public resources. In conclusion, the 1MDB scandal and the ongoing Sabah Water Department corruption serve as a case study. They highlight the devastating the impact of corruption and reinforce that only through strong, independent institutions, transparency, governance, unwavering rules of law, international cooperation, better whistleblower and journalists and active citizen engagement can Malaysia effectively combat this persistent threat for a future view on integrity. So now I'm going to pass the Chiman to continue the.
Thank you, Xiang. As we come to the end of today's talks, let's take a moment to think about what we will learn. We look at the history of corruption, so how it affects real life through examples like 1MDB and the Sabah Water Department case, and talk about ways we can fight against it. Change doesn't happen in one day. It begins with each of us. When we learn more, ask questions, and make sure our leaders do the right thing, we are helping to build a better Malaysia. Thank you so much for watching this video and being part of this journey. If you think this video was helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let's keep talking and working together to make Malaysia more honest and successful. Until next time, keep learning, stay active, and always ask questions. Bye bye.